Well, the Department of Transportation launching an investigation into MARTA's safety. Our big breaking news of the morning. This comes after a couple recent stabbings on MARTA property, including, as you know, that random fatal attack on a 66-year-old woman just riding a train car over the weekend in broad daylight. Rarione Maniece following all this for us this morning. And we just found out about this investigation around 7 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, that's right. And we have been following MARTA for the last week or so. We know the World Cup is coming up, and they're really under the microscope. As we know, a lot of visitors will rely heavily on the transit system to move around Atlanta. And as you mentioned, that recent attack, and now we're hearing from the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy. He just announced this morning that he is directing the Federal Transportation Administration to probe MARTA's system. In that statement announcing this investigation, he goes on to say that every American should be disturbed by the horrific crimes we've seen on MARTA in the last month. No one should be forced to fear for their safety simply because they choose to take public transit. And that statement goes on to say, from our nation's capital to Chicago, we've made substantial progress in holding systems accountable and enhancing security for transit workers and riders. President Trump has made it clear that American families deserve better, and that's what we're going to deliver in Georgia too. Now, with this investigation, he is ordering the Federal Transit Administration to investigate MARTA's security spending, their safety procedures, and whether conditions on the system could be putting riders or workers at risk. The FTA says MARTA's rate of personal security incidents is nearly twice the national average. The agency is giving MARTA 15 days to turn over information about crime trends, fare evasion enforcement, and security funding. And just within like the last 30 minutes, we got a statement from MARTA. They're also responding to this investigation, and they're emphasizing their commitment to making sure employees and riders are safe. They just sent us this statement saying that we welcome the opportunity to share with federal officials the hard work that MARTA team puts in every day, as well as the significant investments in personnel, technology, and operational measures that MARTA has in place to support safety and security across our entire system. And before this investigation was actually announced this morning, yesterday we heard from MARTA leaders. We heard from the interim CEO and MARTA's police chief. They released a video where they kind of detailed the security efforts that they already have in place to kind of reassure people that, hey, you can take MARTA, you know, we are on top of things. They laid out how they have 280 sworn police officers. They say they have 12,000 security cameras across the system, a real-time crime center where they monitor the system, and they made that video inside of that crime center to kind of display some of their efforts. And they say they're going to work with at least 10 different law enforcement agencies during the World Cup to make sure riders are safe.
Wow.
So it's a lot that's happening with the transit system at this point.
And a lot of people have comments about this too. I've seen on Facebook. A lot of folks wondering why there isn't a police officer in every train car. Well, MARTA has 296 rail cars. And you just mentioned 280 sworn officers, so you can't possibly put one on every car. And by the way,
they have to take off.
They got to take off after an 8-hour shift.
Exactly. And, you know, this comes after they decided to, well, they had to make the decision to delay the showcasing of their brand new rail cars. Just yesterday, they say they had to replace some of the fare gates. So, you know, we've been following MARTA for a while now leading up to the World Cup, you know, really promoting taking MARTA during the World Cup. So a lot of people are wondering, is the system ready? And then now they have another set of challenges they'll have to face with this new investigation.
Yeah, answering to the safety of MARTA. Reams, can we pull up some of the crime stats from MARTA right here? This kind of shows what we're dealing with for the last few months. So every peg on that board essentially is 1 month. And if it's in the green, then that means they're exceeding expectations. And you see, based off March 2026, which is the latest data we have, crime's down. It's in the exceeding expectation category for them. But Ariana, when you start dealing with a random homicide, that's one too many for folks.
And I also want to note that the man accused of stabbing a woman on the Beltline, he had another incident where he was found guilty of assaulting a woman at a MARTA station as well.
In January.
Yes. So you look at the numbers, you look at the situation and the incident. So we'll have to see where this investigation goes and what those numbers look like when MARTA hands it over to the federal government.
I have so many questions for MARTA. Do they need more officers? The starting pay, by the way, for a MARTA officer, $38,000.
Oh.
At Atlanta Police, the starting pay is $60,000.
Okay.
How can you possibly compete with that?
Exactly. And they're, right in between each other. So,
Why not go to the other one?
Exactly.
Okay. A lot of questions. Ariana,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.